Hey everybody in Facebook world, on Torch Talk. This is your friend Carson coming back at you one more time. I figured I'd do another live video today, and the thing that I was thinking about earlier today is making, helping some of the newer people to the industry out and helping them actually make a living at blowing glass. When I first started blowing glass, just like everybody else, I wasn't great. I wasn't even very good. And I quickly learned that if I could make a very simple product and learn how to execute that well, then that would kind of continue my my journey as a glass blower. And I was fortunate in the fact I had some great teachers. I still have great teachers. But then also I was able to keep that machine going and really build on some of the very basic things that I did at first. So today's video is going to be about making what we call in the industry puffin chucks, which are just simple little pipes, and we're going to make them as cheaply and as quickly as possible. So if that doesn't interest you as somebody that is a glass blower learning to blow glass, that's fine. This video probably won't be for everybody, but for those of us that are, needing to make a little bit of scratch, especially as new glass blowers, that is something that I found is very helpful and it was very important. It's been very important in my career. I don't make as many of these anymore. There's going to be 3 different things that I'll demonstrate today. One is going to be just a clear spoon on Chinese 19 millimeter by 3 millimeter wall thickness tubing, just a clear basic spoon. I'll show another clear spoon which will be on Chinese 16 millimeter cobalt blue tubing. Same exact concept, just in a color with a little bit smaller diameter. And then the third thing I'll show is a 3-hole pinch or a 3-pinch onie with just a little silver fume, a quick color dot on it. I generally will, if I'm actually making these in a day, I'll shoot for making maybe 50, sometimes 75 in a day. My best day was I made 100 spoons, and I was useless the next day. So if that tells you anything, just in terms of the once I kind of got my system down and got into a groove, I was able to start really producing some production numbers. So anyways, also I've been kind of keeping in the theme with the cool hats, and this is one of my cool hats. This was actually a ground score from George Clinton show, George Clinton in the Parliament Funkadelic show, and I actually got to meet him that night. It was on 420, I think in 2009 or 10, and that was a really great show. I went backstage and I had my friends with me. I was like, let's walk backstage. There was nobody watching the gate, and I popped my head into the trailer, and there's George sitting there, and he was wearing this nasty Cosby sweater, and his grandson had done part of the show with him, and so his grandson was standing right there. I shook hands with his grandson, congratulated him on a nice show. That was a really cool night. So, and I found this was in the mud, and I brought it home and I washed it 4 times. It's obviously handmade by some hippie, so it's it's kind of a special hat. So I'm really happy that I have it now. And if some hippie comments on this video and says, hey, that's the hat that I made and I lost it at the George Clinton show, well, too bad, so sad. It was a ground score. So it is what it is. So anyways, my introductions are kind of long. This will be archived on my YouTube channel. I didn't put a link down in the description, but it's youtube.com/capglass or /c/capglass now. I thank you guys for subscribing to that. I was able to, exceed 100 YouTube subscribers, so I got my own thing. So anyways, there's a lot to kind of talk about with this topic. And there's a topic for discussion in the description, which is how to balance making money and being an artist, and where's the balance in that. And I've been self-employed for quite a number of years, and when I first got into glass, I always appreciated the artistry and I wanted to learn about that. But I also I think one of my strengths is coming into it as somebody that has worked for himself and knows kind of what I need to do to make some money. So anyways, very early on in my career, I figured this stuff out. And I figured out that just now I went onto Mountain Glass's website and pulled their list price numbers for their full cases of glass. So with the Chinese 19 millimeter by 3 wall, there's 36 that come in a case. It's $82 per case. I break the tubes up. Well, let's go ahead and get into that. This is my prep work. I literally just score and snap these. These are my blanks. So this is that 19 millimeter tubing. This will turn into four pipes. They're 5 foot long tubes that come in the case. So that breaks down into 4 15-inch sections, which gives me 4 pipes per section, which equates to 16 pipes per tube, which brings me to 512 pipes per case. And if I'm selling them at $3 a piece wholesale, I turned an $82 case of glass into $1,536 gross worth of pipes. And so the material cost with just the glass is about 16 cents per pipe. And, so like we can do this as glass blowers. Like we can, there's a lot of people that buy import glass. And my whole thing with the import industry and people buying import glass for their shop, like that's fine. But I can make something that's fairly comparable, might be a little bit more expensive, but you're going to have it right there in your face. Like, here you go. You need a $3 pipe for your little, $8 bin or whatever. Here you go. Here's 100 of them, So I really think that we can actually do ourselves a favor in the American glass industry, and especially if you're somebody that's just learning. This is a very efficient way to use your material and to use your gases. I know a lot of people pay a lot of money for gases. I only use my inner flame for this. I don't use my outer flame. If I'm running low on gas, if I'm running low on cash, I can pump out a bunch of these on 1K tank worth of oxygen, and then I'm done, right? Okay, so that's the 19 clear. Those are going to be the spoons. I've got shot 16 by, I think it's like 2.5 millimeter wall. These are going to be the 3-hole, or excuse me, the 3-pinch one. And I'll throw a little silver fume on these and put a dot of color on these. These also come in 5 foot lengths, so I get 4 sections per tube, 4 pipes per section. So again, that's 16 pipes per tube. There's 25 that come in a case of that shot, so that equates to 400 onies per case, which breaks down to, if I'm selling them at $3 a piece wholesale, that breaks down to $1,200 gross for the case, or about 23 cents per pipe, in just the clear material. Now there's a little bit more material that goes along with that, and if we wanted to get super scientific with it, we could. There again, this last material is the 16 by, I guess it's 2.5 or 3 Chinese cobalt tubing. Those come in 4 foot sections. I get 3 16-inch sections out of a 4 foot tube, and this is also four pipes per per section, which equates to 864 pipes for the case. Okay, and the because there's 72 tubes in a case, it's $208 for the full case, and I turned that $208 into $2,592 gross at $3 a pipe wholesale. So that's all the maths, you know, and I appreciate it. Somebody said word up on that. Yeah. Just again, this is like a super long talk about what, you know, kind of the logistics behind, you know, how to make production and how to make it work. So, you know, if you guys are bored, I'm sorry, but that's just what it is. The tools I'm mainly going to be using are a bowl push, a tweezer, and a tungsten pick, and a reamer, maybe. But sometimes I don't even need a reamer, and I'll show you guys some of the tricks. The tweezers I use, they're the shorter ones, and they have the scallops, and the scallops are good for this. So if you don't have the scallop ones, there's a little trick I'll show you when we're doing our mouthpieces and ripping them off. That'll make it quicker if you can really grab onto that glass and pull. And those scallops really help with that. And the other thing I'll use is my claw grabber. I'll use this quite a bit. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get us started. I'll start with the regular old puff and chuck bowls. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'll do one, and I'll take my time explaining what I'm doing, and then I'll do the next one of the same kind as quickly as I possibly can. And I mean, I want to go quick enough to where I'm making money, right? But I don't want to go so quick that I mess it up, right? And so there's going to be a little bit of a balance there. But there's a couple of tricks that I can show you how to do to make it quick or quicker. So I just grabbed this. You know, you might want to flame polish an end. I know that they're not flame polished. Watch me cut my mouth. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the end of this tube up. I'm going to make it gather. I'm going to puff it out. You'll see. It'll go quick. So, you know, again, as far as prep work is concerned, hardly any prep work. Like, next to none. I mean, cutting tubes into 4 sections is my prep work. If you wanted to get fancy with it, you could totally, you know, flame polish the end. You know, it might be a good idea. You know, don't tell me, oh, Carson, I watched your video and then cut the shit out of myself because I didn't flame polish it. You know, like, don't be dumb, but, you know, I just, whatever. When I'm in proto mode, I'm just going, man. So, okay, I close the end of this thing. Now, I'm going to freaking maybe rage my fire a little bit. The nice thing about this Chinese tubing in the smaller sections, it's not, or the smaller diameters, it's not as shocky. I've noticed in smaller diameters, and it's also a little bit soupier, so it melts a little bit quicker. Clear is so cheap anyways that, all right, so that's what I got. That gather, ready? That's it. That's the bowl. Bowl's pushed. All right, carb. Flat spot. Take my claw grabbers. This is still hot, y'all. I can still see this thing glowing. I'll come down about, I don't know, 2.5 inches down the neck. don't know if y'all can see that. I think y'all can see it. I'm going to angle the camera a little bit better. Alright, I'll just pull it out. Make it like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather this up a little bit. I'm going to tweeze it, pull it, tweeze it again, and snap it. So first I got to gather it just a touch. That's it. Oh, I messed that one up. Thinking about it too much. If you're able to squeeze it thin enough and pull it out, it'll create such a thin spot that you won't. It'll just open automatically. You won't even have to reamer it or nothing. Bam, done. Mouthpiece. Finished pipe. I don't know how long that took. We'll go back and review the video at some point. I'm going to throw this in the kiln real quick. You know, when you're talking about proto, I mean, even the distance from the chair to the kiln can make a difference. You know, if it's 15 seconds back and forth, you know, add that up over the course of a day, a week, a month, you know, and you're talking about real time. So, you know, and if we really want to get into it, oh yeah, that's a little bit better. If we really want to get into like super duper, like precise, okay, how long is this going to take me stuff? You know, think about putting your kiln like right on your bench, you know, if that's really like, if it's really important to you, you know, so right there, it might have been 3 minutes. I made what? A $3 pipe? Okay, cool. You know, a couple of things that I didn't say when I was making it. I heat up that gather, I puff it out for the bowl, and then I keep it turning, and but I will not let it cool all the way down before I go and pop my hole and then push my bowl. I like to keep if you can keep it all hot, that way you don't have to reheat it, it takes you less time. So if you think about it like that, you know, if you can keep things hot and work at them while they're still hot, then you're not taking extra time. And now, guys, like, we're not talking about making something that, you know, somebody's going to cherish forever, you know. You know, that's what they call them, puffin chucks. Like, you know, you go on to the, you know, whatever, you go on a fish lot or something like that, sell them for $5, $10 a piece. You know, people use them once or twice, and if they don't like them anymore, that's fine. I mean, they'll last forever, but it's just a very simple product that you can make quickly for cheap. So again, I'll show it one more time. Same general procedure. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention, let's stop the clock. Other thing I forgot to mention is that, you know, this basically, if you had a lynx, you'd be doing the exact same thing. But another time-saving tip for you is that if you can dial in your oxygen knobs to where you want them and just have to adjust your propane, right? Okay, so I need a brushier flame for my gather, and I need a thinner flame for my popping my holes and creating the mouthpiece and stuff. If I can achieve that, and let's see, so that's a pretty nice hot flame. I know I'm going to be able to make my gather with it. If I pull it down here, is that a good flame for my popping my holes? Okay, maybe I want to adjust it a little bit. Bam, 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 bam. Quick, 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 quick. Right. So that's the other trick to this is if you can make it to where you don't have to sit there and adjust your knobs, you know, 150, 300 times for the day. Then you're going to do yourself a favor for sure. All right, so I'm just demonstrating this one more time. This is the same exact thing I did last time. So right now I'm working on this gather. Ready? I think the gather's about ready now. Okay, now it's ready. See it? There you go. Still warm. I mean, it's warm. I'm not waiting though. Watch. All right, it's still warm, y'all. You know, if this was something that I was working on that was a little bit nicer, you know, I would have probably waited for that to cool down, but I'm talking about speed here. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, push. Let me tell you guys, if you want to teach yourself how to do a proper bow push, make a bunch of those. You know, and that's exactly how I learned how to do my bow push. All right. Again, I'm not adjusting my oxygen, just my propane. Ready? Bam. Flat spot, carb, bowl push. Ready? And you know how long you go to break to melt this off. You know, I have like a visual point of reference, so I know, okay, it's not going to be a nose burner, but it's just barely not a nose burner. You know what I mean? So, okay, Soupy, ready? Okay. Turn the propane down. I didn't touch my oxygen. Ready? Time. Thinking too much about it. So I'm at that mouthpiece, you know. But that's it. There you go. So that's one for you. Anyways, let me throw this in the kiln. Alright. So that was, you know, a couple. When I get down, I'll be able to make one more off of this, and when I pull off for the last one, I'll make a point, basically. So that's how I deal with that. Let's do a cobalt one. Same exact principle, same exact thing, basically. The cobalt maybe takes a little bit longer to melt, but not by much. It's a smaller diameter tube. Okay, somebody said, I don't understand what you're doing with the mouthpiece. I'll try to demonstrate that on this next one. But basically what I'm doing is I'm pulling it thin. Before I pull it off, I pull it thin, almost like you're pulling a point. I cut it off. I gather up that little bitty point thing, and then I pull it off with my tweezers and pull it a couple times while it's still hot, and make it thin and smash it right next to where the mouthpiece is going to be and snap it with my tweezers, and it'll either open up a hole just like that, or when you put it in the flame, it's so thin it just completely opens itself up. So, so I hope that kind of helps. The other thing that you want to kind of be careful of when you do it like that, you don't want to send little shards of glass into the piece. You want to try to either angle it down, or there's a certain temperature where the glass won't shard, but it'll break. And once you kind of get dialed in on it, that's where you can take it. Okay, so this cobalt's about ready. Ready? All right, there you go. Again, I'm not going to let it cool down. Bam. You know, why should I let it cool down? I'm just going to have to heat it up again. Now, if you don't let it cool down, you got to keep it moving, you know. All right, that's the carb. Flat spot. Also, it'll help you if you keep your tools in a line. My bench is super messy right now. My shop is super duper messy. That needs to be rectified, but it is what it is right now. So if you keep all your tools in a line in the order in which you have to grab them, again, that might save you 3 seconds of looking for your tool, So there again. Okay, so this is where I'm at. Here's that mouthpiece. If you're looking to see that mouthpiece, now I'm going to melt it to like here. Pinch it, pull it, pinch it, pull it, snap it. Okay. All right, ready? Pinch it, pull it, pinch it, pull it, snap it. Okay. And there, it did it. Opened it right up. There you go. Bam. Done. I'll do it one more time. Alright, we're going to do one more of these cobalts on video. Then we'll do a couple of just, pretty simple onies. So here we go. As I'm talking, here I go. All right, y'all ready? Bam. Like I said, I'm not going to let it cool down too much. I'm going to let it stabilize the touch, but bam. 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 All right. Again, pulled it a little thin. Again, I'm going to melt, pull, snap. I didn't move quick enough on that one. That's okay. If you miss it, you can just pull it out a little bit. Done. Done. Yeah. You want to flatten it or do this little thing, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? What do you want for $3, right? Okay. And the other thing I forgot to mention is since these pipes are so super simple, the durability thing is incredible. Sorry, there's somebody commenting. Just finished this thought. The durability is really good on these actually. As long as they're properly annealed. The way I do them is I put them in gallon Ziploc bags of 50, and they get tossed around by my distributors. In the 4 years of making them, I might have had 10 break of the thousands that I made. I've plenty of them hit the floor and bounce. There's just not a lot of stress there as long as they're annealed. Um, for the question that was just posted, somebody asked, "Can you show me how to make it?" The section that's addressed in the first part of this video, and I will archive that in the YouTube excuse me, on my YouTube channel a little bit later tonight. Okay, so the last one we're going to make is a oneie, and it's going to be not a convention type oneie like a lot of people make. Those take a little bit of time. This is going to be a 3-pinch oneie. So what I'm going to do to start off is I'm going to flame polish the end. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and heat up a little bit of this blank, a section of this tube. I'm going to throw some silver fume on it. I'm going to make my condensions, or excuse me, my pinches with my tungsten pick. I'll put a dot on it, grab it with the grabbers, pull it off, open it up, just like the other ones. So those are my steps. All right, so first things first, maybe put a little bit of heat into this. You know, the other thing that you got to remember is, you know, I think this comes in at any point when you're making things in glass, but, you know, when you're trying to go fast, you want all your stuff prepped up. So I have a piece of silver already on a rod. Doesn't take a lot of silver, y'all. You know, don't buy the, I mean, my experience is, yeah, you can buy the wire, but you might as well buy a coin. I'm still on my first coin. I've been at this for, 4.5 years now. Okay, so I got a little bit of silver on that blank. I have a smaller flame, and I'm going to go in thirds, third, a third, a third. I come up underneath my flame and about 1/4 to 1/2 inch in. And I'm just going to heat up one spot. Look down it. It's about where I want it to be. Go to the next third. Look down it, right? Bam. Okay. Maybe give it a little bit of heat. All right, and you know what else is great about these is you can use your little odds and ends of any kind of color for your little dot. I mean, really, any little piece of color will work just fine. And you know, again, with if we're thinking about time-wise, you know, you might want to decide to use something that's less dense for your little color dot than, you know, so, you know, you might want to use a color that takes less time to frickin' melt, right? You know, so using seconds or odds or ends and odds for that little dot, you know, using that Chinese color, it doesn't really matter. And you need a dot on a oneie so it doesn't roll off the table. So I'm going to grab this thing and I'm going to pull it off. And you know, you can play with the length. I found the lengths that work for me that I think are a good compromise between material usage and, you know, not burning somebody's nose. Okay, again, exact same way I'm going to do this this mouthpiece here. And I got to thinking too much about it. But there you go. That's that oneing. You know what I mean? And it's really simple. You know, I mean, you're not going to win the glass blowing awards by making these, y'all. But they're fun. I mean, you know, I can sit here if I really need to make some money, I'll sit here and crank out, you know, I don't know, a couple 300 in a week and pay the bills, you know. So I'll make one more, and we'll call it a wrap. All right, so I just got to open up this tube. I'll open it up the same way that I did when I opened up my blow tube. Pinch it, grab it, pinch it, snap it. I'm going to open right up for you. I'm going to take a little reamer, open that up a little bit. Got a little bit of silver on here. Ready just a touch. Don't take much. Alright, that's enough. Yeah, I got this flame dialed in for this one. These now. Kind of a smaller flame. Next one. Go to the next third. That's two. That's three. Alright. Maybe I'll use the accent of some of this seconds Paramore color that I got at AGI for $23 a pound or $25 a pound or something. You know, there again, you know, to kind of try to maybe, what I also like to do with these is just, I'll have 3 or 4 sticks of color lined up and just vary the dot color, you know. Just give it a little variation. If you wanted to build on this concept, another thing you can do is stripe it down. You know, just take some 3mm tubing, or excuse me, rod, and just stripe it down. You know, throw your silver fume on there, throw your little bit of stripes on there, you know, and then you turn this into maybe a $5 or $7 product. You know what I mean? I was at a show not long ago, and I had a guy come up to me and said, "Hey man, you got any more of those onies? Like, you know, I need a couple more." You know, and he's still got his, and you know, it's a good. And he's like, "I love that 3-pinch design, and it doesn't it doesn't clog as easily, and it's so much faster to make." So there you go. There's that. And I mean, yeah, I think, you know, we should all kind of know how to make a condension, you know, and there's an art to that too. So, opened it right up. Give a little spin, little tap, and we're done. And we didn't really get to the topic for discussion as much. Let me put this in the kiln, and I'll just come back to you guys. You know, so one of the things that I've had to work on, though, is learning how to be more artistic. And what I'm learning now is that, you know, if I can take my time and make something, you know, there will be somebody to buy it too. So this has been just a demonstration of, you know, a good way to kind of keep your glass business going, and you know, so hopefully it helps somebody. And yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to learn what we do, and there's all kinds of ways to, you know, kind of make money. Obviously, this isn't the only way to do it. You know, I have friends that are making Christmas ornaments by the hundreds, and So this is just the way that I've, kind of learned how to do it. Um, in the head rocker syndrome, somebody says you can always tell if someone's been blowing glass for a while. We all get the head rocker syndrome. That's right. Anyways, somebody asked what temp do I anneal them. I generally will run my kiln at like 1060, 1070, and at least in the winter time, because it helps to keep the shop a little bit warmer. And also I figure there's going to be a gradient variance, so the thermocouple is in the middle of the kiln. The elements are on the top of the kiln for my kiln, and so the glass sits at the bottom. So I figure there's probably a variance in there. So I'll run it at 1060, 1070 for this kind of stuff. I don't worry about stacking them. What I'll generally do is I'll make enough. I'll go through my 16, right? So like with those 5-foot tubes, I have 16 pipes that I make, and then I have a little pusher that I push them back. So I'll keep them in the front of the kiln, then I'll push them back, and then as the day goes on, sometimes I'll have to start stacking them. And the trick to stacking glass in the kiln is, as long as this has been my experience, but if everything is at the same temperature, generally you'll be okay. But you don't want to take a piece of glass, a raw piece of glass from your bench, and set it down on a finished product in your kiln. That'll create those spider web cracks. But if they've been sitting in there for 5 minutes and you want to go ahead and start stacking them, I've never had a problem doing that. So that's another little quick tip for you. Somebody said they run 1069. Yeah, there you go. I have a friend. I was just out in California a couple of weeks ago, and he runs his kiln at like 960. And I was like, why do you run your kiln at 960? And he uses a lot of those like aventurine sparkly colors. And he also makes a lot of marbles, so he'll use those on the outside of his marbles. And he said, that's what the manufacturer suggests. And, I made a couple of things. We didn't have a problem with them cracking there. So there's definitely, the science is actually kind of out on the way we anneal. Having that program, I learned this summer that it might not be absolutely necessary to ramp down. That's a soft glass thing and kind of a holdover. It might not apply to boron. I'm no expert. I don't want to cause any kind of crazy controversy, so please don't jump on my case about that. I love you guys. This has been really a lot of fun. Get out there and keep torching. Make a few bucks. So hope it's been helpful, and check out the YouTube channel. It's CAPGLASS. It's YouTube /C/CAPGLASS. I'm on Instagram at CapGlass as well. So I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. I love our community. And keep on working. And we'll see you next time.